Hey everybody, Arturo, Evan, Johnny back again for another episode of Espookys Talk.
Alright, what do people at?
You got 30 minutes of Cucuy in you?
I don't, but it's gonna happen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of
Espookys Talk.
That's right, I am Arturo and I'm here with our resident bruja, the hostess with the mostest, Eva.
Thank you, everybody, for all the wonderful comments. I love being number one.
You are number one. And you know what's really kind of interesting is based off of all these comments, Johnny's number two.
Yeah, pretty much.
Congratulations, Johnny, for beating me out, but that's okay. I'm not offended.
So in other words, please leave more comments for Arturito.
Absolutely, guys. You can always leave a comment just based off of wherever you get your podcast. There's a little link right there, right in our bio. Or you can always email us directly at espookystalk@gmail.com.
So far, we've gotten some wonderful comments.
Absolutely.
We even have a number one fan.
We do.
Shout out to David.
Oh, David. We read. We like. Keep sending messages.
It always makes me smile.
But going back, everyone, as we're sitting around the table, which you guys didn't get to enjoy, but it was quite exciting. And we were talking about some of the previous episodes. I shared a story that I kind of want to share with you guys because it was a little weird. It was a little weird.
So what you're telling me is after talking about all of those dreams,
yes,
with Peter,
yes,
something came back to you.
Something came back. I don't think I was trying to suppress it, guys. Like, for real. I don't think I'm trying to suppress those memories or those dreams or anything. But after that, I'm not lying. I only work 2 miles from here. My drive is like 9 minutes. So I'm driving along and I'm cruising around. And next thing you know, I have this like flashback memory. And it was so vivid. And I called my sister right then. And she says she remembers. She remembers this also. So basically, when I was young, probably under 10, we lived in a 2-story house here in Mountain View, and the stairway wasn't like an open stairway, it was like a hallway. And it was kind of creepy because there was like this weird cabinet thing, like a door, like an attic type door, but that's where all the ducts and things were for the heating unit. But it was just, I always bothered me. It was always super creepy. Anyways, so I guess I used to sleepwalk a little bit, but I have this vivid image of seeing myself on the stairway, kind of curled up and crying, like on the stairway, and right next to that door. And then I woke up, and when I woke up, I was in the stairway right next to that door. So, did I astral project? Did I see myself? Because that's exactly, like, now that I'm an adult, and you know, there are movies and things that show you people seeing themselves. That's exactly what I felt.
An out-of-body experience?
But terrified. I was terrified.
Maybe. Why were you terrified?
I don't know if I just didn't understand it. Like, all of a sudden you see yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm in the worst place in the house next to that door. And I was curled up like in a little ball, you know, on the stairway. I don't know.
Was anything calling to you?
I don't know.
What do you remember? Can you describe it to us?
Well, the sad part is I don't remember a lot about the sleepwalking. The only thing I remember was that stairway. Like, if my soul was going to pull away from me and show me myself, that's where it did it. Was right there at that stairway. And it was just a couple seconds of me crying in this vivid image that I have, and then snap back into it, you know what I mean? And then I'm in the dark in the stairway next to that creepy door. So I don't know. But my sister's like, dude, I totally remember. I remember you crying in the stairway. You used to sleepwalk. Not all the time. But she remembers that day.
Wow.
Crazy. And if anyone out there has memories like that, you know, from listening to us, I have my best friend in all the world I met in middle school. And he lived 6 houses away from me, and we used to kind of go to each other's house for the night, etc., you know, whatever. He now lives like 9 houses from here. We still live. His wife said that she listened and that she had a lot of like that Peter's story was her story. She's like, I experienced exactly that, just like Peter. And I was like, we should have you come talk to us and stuff like that. And she's like, it's the exact same thing. I'm like, have you had any other experience? She goes, all the time. She said all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I bet she's kind of like one of those people that has the light, the dawn, but she's the type that tries to suppress it in my, from talking to her, I feel like it scares her maybe.
Oh, of course.
I don't know. How about when you started?
When we talked at the she told us, and I've told you the same thing. It is scary. Because you try to understand it with logic, and logic doesn't apply.
Wow, yeah. That's deep.
So, like, as a human, how do you deal with that? When we tried to put everything in classifications and organize it to a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
And makes sense to those around us that build validation, thus creating our reality. What if that doesn't apply? What do you do?
What do? You know what I mean? You have to maybe seek some help or someone who might have a little bit more experience and things to kind of help guide you through, right?
Yeah. But
Crazy.
it's not always accepted. I think that's what makes it harder.
Oh, crazy. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys because even myself we talk about this all the time. Like since we started this, we talk about this all the time. And I sit there and I think to myself, oh, whatever. But to have those kind of memories or whatever it was come back again, it really, I don't know.
And this is why we started the podcast, is to try to investigate and try to bring all those suppressed memories back.
Well, I don't know. If I'm suppressing stuff, maybe it's for a reason.
Now let's bring it back.
All right.
Put it all out of the air.
Bringing it back.
It's very interesting because as you shared that story, I remember that my dad's sister lived in a cattle ranch, like a dairy farm.
Mm-hmm.
And that house had really creepy staircase too. But you could close the door and then that upstairs rooms, like where the rooms were, was closed off. So the party would be in the living room, in the dining area / kitchen, right? And what I found very interesting was that we were always called to go up there. No, I'm being for real.
No, I get you.
I just felt something up there,
just calling to you.
Yeah, and it was strange though because it didn't feel dark or it didn't feel scary. I was just very curious. But you know what they say happened to the cat that was curious. So with a cautious mind, we'd go up there, but we would hear footsteps, and then we'd go downstairs and nobody was there. We'd look over the railing, nope, nothing was there. We figured it was a parent coming to see if we were good or wanted something to eat.
That's the creepy part of the stairway that I'm talking about. There was no railing. You go up a hallway, and then all of a sudden you're upstairs, and then it's completely enclosed. I can't even explain it. It was not the same type of concept as most people think of when they think of a modern staircase. It's just really weird. Freaked me out. And the crazy part is there's one room up there. It was huge. It was my sister's room. Wait, there was one bedroom, had its own bathroom and stuff, right? So it's the top of the stairs right there. But if you go to the left, it was just a big giant room. So big that since there were so many of us, right, we put a bookshelf to kind of partition it off and actually made a bedroom up there. It's very strange. And it had all this weird storage area that was super creepy. But anyways, yeah, I remember crying on the stairs. Seeing myself from above. And it was definitely from above.
As we were hanging out at the staircase, we would all, because it was the same thing. The room upstairs was really big. And there was an additional room, but it was slightly smaller. But this one was ginormous because the idea was that you would also section it off, like you're saying, and make it a hangout living room situation for the kids, right? And so we were up there and we would play board games and just keep ourselves entertained while our parents were downstairs having fun as well. Well, we would hear these noises and we were all super scared to turn off the lights because the noises would get louder. Can you imagine?
I can imagine.
A bunch of kids just freaking out up there, screaming their heads off, and nobody coming upstairs to check.
For sure. And the crazy part about those big rooms, tell me this is true of yours because it's definitely true of mine. Because you're partitioning rooms, the light switches weren't right in your room.
No.
You had to turn the light off and then go as quickly as you can to get to where you're going because of the creepiness. Oh, yeah. Marco, if you're out there listening, I'm telling you, bro, I know you remember some of the stuff of that upstairs. But the big thing is, and the reason why everything's super creepy, I feel that culturally, my tios, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, I happen to be the youngest in my family, used to tell stories and used to give like information, whatever, to us about things that could get you in the night. And one of the big ones was like, if you don't get in before it gets dark or whatever, if they don't, what's the cucuy? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. My mother would say, si no te portas bien, te va a agarrar el cucuy.
See?
To this day, I'm terrified. What is it? I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm terrified.
I honestly feel that's part of the fear. The fear is the unknown. Who the heck knows what the cucuy is? Because it's whatever the people who are telling you want to make it to make you, you know.
And it's always at night. The cucuy only comes out at night.
The cucuy comes out at night.
And if you're being bad.
And
so just be a good human and you'll be okay.
I love that you're putting like, hey, by the way, it has to do with your behavior. So
it really does. But then my mom put it this way. She explained to my cousin and I that we would argue a lot. And, you know, she didn't want to harm us in any way or discipline us the old-fashioned way. So she told us that if we didn't behave, the cucuy was going to get us.
Yeah.
Because it only went after naughty children.
I always felt like the cucuy could be summarized in kind of a more mainstream like the boogeyman. Because what really is the boogeyman? People always say, you know, the boogeyman's going to get you. I know that there's other regions of the world where I was down in Louisiana. Remember, I told you that. And I was talking to some people about just a bunch of stuff because I'm curious and I like to talk to people. And they were talking to me about the rougarou.
I have no idea. Please educate us.
They say that the rougarou is like a shape-shifting creature that are out in the bayous and that you hear and you see, but then they can transform and they disappear. Creepiness. The guy was telling me that it's so prominent of a story in that area, and people believe in it so much that they call the authorities and stuff to come out and investigate when they think they see the rougarou.
I'm sorry.
You're looking at me, but I'm like
so freaked out right now.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
I got the chills.
There's so much out there that I think is a possibility. And it's crazy. It's crazy to me that there's so much out there. Think of all the other cryptids and stuff that are out there that people
like the children of the forest in Alaska.
See, educate me because that sounds amazing.
There's
amazingly scary, I should say. You know what I mean? Because the way you said it and how you're looking at me, I'm not gonna lie, guys, kind of freaked me out a little bit. So
hikers would go out and hike, and then they don't return because the children of the forest take them. They take the hikers, and you never see them again. And it's because when you feel that the energy has shifted, and you feel a rush in your belly, and that's telling you to run. Please do so.
Run. Just run. Sometimes you don't have to be fast. You just have to be faster than the guy next to you.
They're usually hiking alone, which you also shouldn't do. Take a buddy.
No. You know what's really kind of crazy? You're talking about Alaska. I was just in Yosemite. And I was in Yosemite with a bunch of, believe this guys, with a bunch of 8th graders. Kind of what I do. But I was there. And I was talking to a guy near Curry Village. And he was telling me about another cryptid that was seen in Yosemite called the Fresno Crawler.
The Fresno Crawler.
And if you guys, if you don't believe me, Johnny, you can Google it.
Can you give us a description of what it would look like?
They say that it looks like a giant worm-like creature thing. And that it's been seen twice in California, once in Fresno, hence the name, and once in Yosemite. And near Curry Village. Like not super close, but kind of near where it was close enough to me to go like, let me look that up and make sure it's not coming to get me. Because
have you seen the horror movie where like the worm pops out of the ground and has like all these teeth? Like that?
I think so.
I'm slightly terrified.
You know, you should be. You should be. There's so many things out there that you just don't know. You just don't know.
And the fact that somebody that works there is saying this makes it valid in my eyes.
You know, there's a bunch of people that work with some organizations that just kind of are based in or around Yosemite, and they tell me about all sorts of just crazy things that they've seen, that they've experienced. There's so many accidental deaths. There's so many things that just kind of, and you can feel it. You know, when the kids went all to bed, and we were just sitting around, and of course we stayed up a little bit longer to make sure that everybody was asleep and quiet time, etc. You hear all sorts of things. You sense a bunch of things. At one point, it wasn't Half Dome. What is it? North Dome, the other peak that's next to it. Right. Anyways, there was like a reflection or a light, but there shouldn't have been. You know, and we were kind of staring at it. We all saw it. I mean, there was only 4 of us, but we all looked in that direction and saw it. And we're like, is that a it can't be a flashlight because it's on the face. It was just, there's just creepy stuff. You know, and who knows?
Did anybody hear anything or report anything to you?
Not to me. They didn't report it to me. I'm just a guy started to cry and go back to my little cabin. You know what I mean? Like, if it's out there, I don't want it to come see me, you know?
I don't think anybody would want that.
Yeah. I'm also really intrigued with stuff like Sasquatch, the you know, Bigfoot. And the reason that really kind of trips me out is just like these other cryptids. It's just the fact that so many people have an experience, an idea. Something happened to them. They saw something, and then people say, "What'd you see?" And then they describe it or they draw it or whatever. And they're always super similar. Because who comes up with you know, and then we're talking about before mainstream media and things like that people have been reporting these for hundreds of years, and no, they're still all similar. I think that's super creepy. I
always wonder if all these people go missing and things because whatever's there is protecting the area. Like either something happened there. There's always a story.
I don't know.
And as you investigate things, I mean, two things can happen. You can come out of it and you get to share the story and kind of educate people, or we never see you again.
Or you've been eaten. Because to tell you the truth, guys,
that's so sad. Don't put that in people's minds.
I mean, the truth is, man, if I get taken, guys, I probably taste like carne asada chocolate cake. People are gonna want to, you know, I don't know. But I think that's a possibility. What I mean by that is not to make light of, you know, the people who are missing and things like that. But if it is something that's out there and it's not protecting, what's the other real option? Survival, food source. Like, you really don't know. That's the scary part of the unknown, is that it's unknown. But coming back to our culture.
What do you got?
I mean, think of that though. We have the Cucuy, La Llorona, right? There's so many other just minor things, like the chupacabra.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Do you know about the chupacabra?
I do. But it's scary.
Doesn't matter. Spill it.
I'm so scared. Okay. So the chupacabra, according to the legend, is like a mystical dog. Almost like a werewolf, but not really. In this case, it's like a werewolf and a vampire crossbreed, like a hybrid.
What?
Yeah. And so what would happen is that all of these farmers would have all their goats out and about, you know, livestock, making a living, and they would go missing. And when they would return, it would be a body of a deceased goat drained of its blood. But it was like 2 holes, just like a vampire. And so that's why they were like, oh, it must have been the chupacabras. Get it? To suck.
No,
cabra,
I get it.
Which is a goat.
Goat. Yeah, no, I get it.
So goat sucker would be the translation?
See, but I think I saw a documentary on that once about the chupacabra. And that you're right, that not only does it just have a hole and drain of blood, but there's no blood around the carcass.
Right.
There's no anything. So
no full bite.
No. So if anyone has ever seen the Animal Planet channel, right? And you see, I don't know, a poor little gazelle going across, and oh, here comes a lioness, and right? And all of a sudden there's a kill. There's blood, there's
It's eating.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
know what I
different
mean?
experience.
There's evidence of
It's
that.
like, but in this case, it's like a spider, but without the web,
See, that's crazy.
right? Because spiders do the same thing.
See, if I
So
ever
what
saw
is it? A giant spider going around?
Don't say that. Johnny and I don't like spiders. Johnny? See?
It's a giant spider
Don't
with
do
no
that.
web,
No.
just going around, just living its life. It gets you at night.
See?
And maybe that's the real Cucuy. We don't know.
Oh, man. See? And that's it. You know, when you don't know, I think it's scarier.
Oh, absolutely. That's my biggest fear. I've mentioned that before.
Man.
The fear of the unknown. That paralyzes me.
I kind of want to go. This is going to sound really weird, guys, because I want you to go with me because I don't want to do it by myself. But I kind of want to go in search of some of these cryptids. Or at least to areas where they're more like, there's more sightings. Because then you could talk to some people and really get some cool stories.
To share. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I want to experience one. You're on your own.
Oh.
I'm going to outrun you. Ready, set, goodbye.
Wow. That's messed up. I'll trip you.
That was your own advice.
Oh,
Johnny,
man.
was that not his advice?
Jeez,
He's
guys.
saying yes. You can't see him, but he's saying yes.
I'm telling
He
you.
agrees.
I still think I want to go do something like that. And there's a couple places that I kind of want to go that I think there are some things out there. My dog.
Senses.
Every time, it's really funny, guys, because the true story is that she doesn't bark all that much. And then anytime we start to talk about things and the energy shifts a little bit in the room, she barks.
No, she truly does. I'm telling you. Intuition.
I'm telling you. It's happened more than once. So what I'm thinking of maybe doing is we just need to compile a list of things that we're interested in, because I'm in. I want to go. I want to do it.
But I also want our listeners to tell us their stories, whether they want to come on air and share them, because we love that. But I'll share them on your behalf. Easy.
Easy peasy.
It would be fun, because I feel like there's a lot of people who experience things. And if we get it out there, I like to experience it with everyone.
I have had an experience myself in the forest by myself.
Okay, why were you in the forest?
Oh
by
my
yourself?
goodness, guys. Let me tell you, I work with kids, and I've worked with kids for a long time.
Okay.
And then the Mountain View PAL, which is the Police Activities League, we took a group of kids and we went out into the Oakland Hills over near Chabot, where the observatory is, and we went to a campground. So we walked over to Chabot, which was about a mile away, whatever. After going through the through Chabot, we were leaving, and there was one kid, like, we're minus one kid. So I'm like, don't worry, everybody had to leave.
I'm thinking bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, I'll get the kid, no problem. Walked through Chabot, and then they were like, no, he left with blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. So now I'm by myself, and I have to walk through the woods.
Alone.
Pitch black, middle of the night. It was like 11 o'clock, and I'm walking through the woods back, probably a solid, it had to be like a mile, right? And I'm walking, and you're walking, and you're terrified, and you're looking around, and you hear all these things, and you can just kind of hear rustling alongside of you.
In the bushes, in the shrubs.
And there's and that could be an animal, whatever, fine. But you would think that as you continue to walk, you leave the animal behind you. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. That it continued, and there's no wind. It wasn't windy or anything. You would just hear that alongside of you. Then, true story, guys, I'm not making this up. There's like what do you call those? Like the gate, but it's not really a gate. It's just a bar that kind of swings open to block the road and stuff. The bar was closed, so I had to just kind of like step over it. And when I did, it was the creepiest feeling. Like I felt as though something was next to me. And I remember like turning, and there was nothing there. And I just started running. Bye. And I don't run, guys. Of all of you guys who know me, I run only when chased. And I truly felt like I was going to be chased. I was gone. It was the scariest thing I think I've experienced out in the wilderness by myself. I've never really been in the wilderness by myself. So that was just really freaky. And then people would tell you stories of either wild people or cryptids or whatever they want that's kind of in the area. You hear a bunch of stories afterwards, but when you feel it, it's just really, really freaky.
I would not want to go to the bathroom again. Like having to walk that far, and
I mean, it wasn't
things chasing you.
Yeah, it was weird. Have you ever had anything kind of?
Have you ever gone back to that campsite?
Heck no. Are you kidding me? They're lucky I didn't leave those kids and leave that night. Shoot.
Just got out of there, packing your stuff. What happened? You don't want to know.
I'm telling you, it was crazy.
I think the most interesting thing that happened to me that can kind of relate is back at the dairy farm where we would, and I mean, my aunt would host all kinds of events, whether it was Christmas or Thanksgiving, was that we'd play a game. There's like 25 of us cousins, and we're all first cousins. There's just big families. And we would split off into 2 teams, and we would have some person be it. But of course, we would give them the Jason mask.
Oh, see?
Because we like the chasing experience. And there's, cow feed on.
Get out of here.
On the haystacks and stuff, so that's everywhere. And so it would make like a maze. And my team always won because I used my intuition. So I knew exactly where everybody was at.
I feel like if you're giving people the Jason mask, you're almost inviting something super creepy to happen.
Oh, yeah. Like, it did. But, like, first of all, I have no idea that I was able to, like, foresee where everybody was. Like a vision, like a quick vision of knowing how to get out of the maze. And then, he would go, the person that was older. So they would go and move the haystacks around. So the path was never the same.
I feel like that's cheating.
Sure. I thought it was great. I had,
Where was this?
This was in Turlock, California.
Interesting.
The Dust Bowl.
No, that's interesting.
Why do you say that?
Well, so I myself have been out to a couple places that we, as teenagers would go and check out. And one of them was in Merced, which is right by Turlock. And we would go, there was a girl. Anyways, there was a girl. There's always a girl. So there was a girl that we went to go visit, right? And she took us to like this, it was like an abandoned barn where we were just going to go out and hang out. There's like 6 or 7 of us. And all of a sudden the stories start coming out, about hauntings and people around there that have done some crazy stuff. And I feel like just going to those places and doing these things in some random remote areas, that there's always something freaky. She told us about a place in Byron, which is out by Tracy, California, called the Byron Hot Springs. And it used to be like an old, like an old hospital or an old folks home, something funky, right? So, and it's at the end of a road that they call Hell's Gate and all this crazy stuff. Yes, they do.
Oh my goodness.
And we went over to Byron Hot Springs, and I did not experience this, guys, but I will tell you secondhand because I was there, but it didn't happen to me.
Okay.
That we were walking, we broke in. Sorry, guys. We broke in and we're walking through this place, and it was super creepy. Just all these hallways and doorways. And then I had a buddy, and my buddy, he was walking and he's kind of lagged behind, saw something, and we were kind of staying together. And he said that we were in front of him and that he felt something tap him on the shoulder. And then when he said he turned around to see what was behind him, and it was us. Like, I don't understand how you get so confused and you feel something touch you and you turn around and and now we're facing you. But white as a ghost. White as a ghost. Almost crying, definitely teary-eyed, and we had to leave. We had to leave immediately. He did not want to be there anymore. He said he felt something crazy. I honestly didn't feel anything, and a lot of the times I do, but yeah, Byron Hot Springs at the gates of hell. Crazy stuff.
See, but that ties into my story.
See?
Because again, dairy farms, you rent them, right? And usually you work for the person who owns them. And so you're able, people are constantly moving through these houses. Can't tell you how many times my aunt moved locations. And she would host these parties, and we'd all get together and we'd play these games. But then, when it got dark, I think the Cucuy was there. And I tell you that because we could hear things. Like we would hear what we thought was our voices, like a mimic, but it wasn't our voices.
See, that's not the first time I've heard people say that they've heard what they thought was their own voice.
Yeah. But I was like, you're not going to fool me. I know what my voice sounds like. I'm very aware. But it did creep me out because at one time I thought it was my mom calling all of us in. Because again, it was starting to get dark. The street lights were coming on. But it was just so interesting that like we turned and we all heard my mom's voice. It was not my mom. And so, of course, we ran in the other direction. And now they're like, oh, Eva, help us. You're really good at navigating through here. And I'm like, no, I'm scared now. Cool, calm and collected. Eva left 2 minutes ago.
Stuff like that always happens out in the country. I said that before.
Yeah.
Things always happen out like in these random rural areas, you know, just absolutely. When I moved out of Mountain View, I moved back obviously because here I am.
Right.
But I moved out to Lodi. And Lodi is in San Joaquin County. It's kind of out between, you know, it's between Stockton and Sacramento, but much, it's the next city from Stockton. But we live 12 miles out into the country. There are no streetlights. You say the streetlights came on. There are no streetlights out there. You know what I mean? No, so when it gets dark, it gets dark. When it gets foggy, it gets foggy. And then you see images and things that kind of through the fog because you can't see. They've stopped school buses because their visibility was less than, I think it was 25 feet or whatever it was.
Right.
So you're sitting in your house and you're looking out the window and it's just a blank. It's like a blank canvas of white. And then you see things though. You see like shapes and you see shadows. But why do they always seem to be about 5'10" and walking is what I want to know. Do you know what I'm saying?
With glowing eyes.
I don't know about them glowing eyes, but
glowing eyes
mine I never saw glowing eyes. I don't want to see glowing eyes. Freaking me out now. But I've always seen things like that on our property. We had 3.5 acres and we were set back from the road. So the things that are walking around in my front yard, sure as heck wasn't anybody walking on the road. Just crazy stuff. But the country, I'm telling you.
Yeah, the countryside has something.
Guys, if you're out there and you're in the country or from the country and you have a story, I need you to let us know. I need to hear this stuff. Right?
We need to know why the countryside is Espookys.
Why is it so Espookys?
We need to talk about
Johnny, country, Espookys, yes or no? Oh, we got the okay from Johnny.
But I do have a friend who shared a story with me about her walking down the countryside because there was a party out at a friend's house, like in their barnyard and stuff. Not a deserted, haunted one. I'm sure their parents own it. And, you know, it was nice. They were having a great time. And all of a sudden, you know, she saw her friend exit. So, you know, buddy system, got to stay safe. Followed her. And then, you know, because of the fog, she wasn't able to see her anymore. So she got concerned and worried, went to go check, like, the bathroom inside the house, which was, like, a walk. Like, it was pretty far. You had to walk a little bit. Went to go check on her. And pretty... Like, I guess she must have taken a wrong turn. She ended up by the side of the road. And she saw something that looked like a werewolf.
No.
And it looked at her.
No.
And had, like, bright red eyes.
No, absolutely not.
And so she immediately, without even thinking about it, just ran in the opposite direction of where she came from so she can get back to the barn. And she was so freaked out that she went to go find the person who gave her a ride and was like, take me home. I can't believe what I just saw.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Be careful with the fog and glowing eyes.
I'm telling you.
Because if someone tells me a story, I believe it.
That's crazy.
I will not be going to any barn parties anytime soon.
You know, we used to do things out in the country in the orchards and like build little bonfires and all this crazy stuff. But then, you know, you're with a girl or you're whatever and you start to walk.
There's always a girl for you.
There's always a girl, yeah. And then you walk away from like everyone else because you just want to be alone for a minute. Always the craziest things happen out there. There was a guy, I forget what his name was.
It's okay. We don't need to know his name.
No. It wasn't even a friend or anything. It was the name of the person that they said lived on this particular property. And then you would hear his name.
No.
Creepy stuff.
Like something would just call his name.
Like you would just hear his name. And it wasn't George, but it was kind of one of those kind of old-timey names. I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe I blocked it out because you would think I'd remember that. But I remember being scared. I remember energy. I remember hearing it like with the rustling of the wind of all the leaves of the orchards, and then his name would be called.
So in Los Baños, by the D Dam, everybody from Los Baños knows what I'm talking about. We'd go out there to talk, to have like those deep conversations that sometimes you should have with your besties. And during this time, we were talking about some heavy stuff that was going on. And I knew something was going to talk to me. And it was like a second. And then I hear in like a small boy's voice say, Eva. And I looked over, I'm at the passenger seat. Look over my friend who's driving. We make eye contact. She starts the car and we take off. Without looking, I was so scared to look back because we both heard my name and I knew it.
Yes.
And I knew I was going to hear it. And so like now I'm freaked out because I'm like, oh man, what just happened? Like I can't make sense of it, right? So we take off to Target because Target was the hangout spot in Los Baños. It has a Starbucks.
Target, man, Target.
And so we enter the building and then we finally say a word. Because this whole time, and this is a drive. This is like a 15-minute drive outside of the town. And I'm like, what did you hear? And she's like, your name. And I was like, me too, and I'm scared. I don't know what to do now. I was like, but what did it sound like to you? And she was like a little boy. He was asking, like he was going to start asking for help. So I got us out of there. And I was like, that's crazy because that's what I heard.
Oh my gosh.
It was really hard to like understand it. And I use the word crazy because I don't have any other word to describe it. Because I do feel like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think during one of our other episodes, I remember telling a story of when I was just out at the house in Lodi, and a girlfriend of mine, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, we were watching movies, and we were at her car just saying goodbye, and we heard my name, Arturo. And we both looked same direction, same time, and then looked back at each other, and then every dog in the stinking country barking. Same time. And we were like, nope. She got in the car, took off, and I'm like, son of a gun, I still got to close the gate. I had to run to the gate, I don't run. And I had to run to the gate, and like it was, so I know that feeling. Oh, anyways.
I feel like now the listeners are really into you running. You got to run now.
No.
We keep talking about it. Now we got to be about it.
Hey, I run only when chased. Firm rule, guys. Anyways.
All right, Chupacabras, you hear that?
Yeah,
he's in.
I'm in.
Chase him down.
Chase me down. I taste like carne asada. Anyways, guys.
And chocolate cake.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget that. So it's about that time. Actually, it's over that time a little bit. John will have to do some editing, but I just wanted to thank everyone for listening. And, I'm sorry we kind of got all over the place, but when we're sitting around the table and just talking about some things, it's just where it takes us. It's where it takes us. And
I mean, that's our podcast, though. Yeah. It's Espookys Talk. We talk about all kinds of Espookys, and you listen to me and Arturo talk about it.
But if you're out there and you really want to join in the conversation, I'm serious, guys. I'm serious. Send us an email. It's Espookys Talk, ESPOOKYSTALK@gmail.com. But remember this, tonight, as you get ready to rest, be sure to look under that bed.
Lock your closet doors and your mirrors. You know what? Even all your gates, all of them, all your mirrors, anything reflective. Be cautious.
It's a spooky stuff.